Hey guys, welcome to another interesting segment on Home Truth Nigeria. So today I would like to talk on this topic. Do all Nigerian men abroad have a wife and family back home? The past few days I had conversation with two different ladies, and coincidentally their concerns were on this topic. They one was married, one is on the verge of, but they are a little bit skeptical that the Nigerian man they are with is with family back home or kids. And I know a lot of Western ladies have this at the back of their mind, especially with the Nigerian men they're with. A lot of them are thinking, is this man married back home? Does he have a family back home? Has he got a wife back home? Those who are dating, those who are interested to meet Nigerian men, those who are married, and those who are even engaged. You have this thing going through your mind because of things you've been exposed to, what you've heard, what you've read. Is there a slight possibility that this dude have a family back home? I totally understand this, and that is why I would like to answer this question and put this topic, to rest. And the question again is: do all Nigerian men abroad do they have a wife and family back home? My answer to this is simple: no. Not every Nigerian man abroad is with family or has got a wife back home. This is a stereotype that has been created because maybe some few Nigerian men have been caught in the act, having a family back home and then coming overseas to get another lady. And this stereotype has been blown out of proportion to the fact that every Nigerian man abroad is considered to have a family or have kids back home, which is not the truth. Now, to understand deeply this question, we need to look at one thing, and that is the relationship status of Nigerian men, Western women may likely or will encounter in their country. Now, there are relationship status that you would encounter and you will have a smooth relationship, especially when the guy is single. And you've got the ones that you would enter and you would be in that relationship. You are fighting another relationship outside the relationship. So, what are these relationship status that you may likely encounter from a Nigerian man when he is in your country, especially in the Western world? Firstly, you've got Nigerian men who are single. You got Nigerian men who are single and in a relationship. You got Nigerian men who are single and married. You got Nigerian men who are single with kids. And then you got the Nigerian men who are single by the virtue of divorce. So these are the five different kinds of relationship status. If you look deeply, you will see or you will see that the Nigerian men you encounter in your country or in the Western world, they always put that. So for the sake of this video, I would like to break or give you a proper understanding of the true meaning behind this different relationship status and how it can help you to unravel the mystery if the Nigerian man you're with actually has a family back home. It would help you going forward. Now, the first is the single guys. See, these guys are single, as the name implies. They are not in any relationship and are not dating anyone. Neither have they promised anyone marriage or anything. Now, these guys might be talking to one or two ladies, but nothing serious is coming out of it. They're officially single, home and abroad. Some may be talking and but they've not asked the lady out. So this puts them in the real single bracket. They are single. They are ready to date. Some of them are single and are not ready to date because maybe they just came out from a relationship, so they just want to understand and process the whole thing. But these guys are single, home and abroad. I quote, home and abroad. So if you end up with any of these guys, you would not have any drama because even if you try to want to do your digging or background checking, it will come back empty because they've got nothing at hand. They are 100% single. And you got a lot of these guys in the Western world. A lot of them are very focused and really, you know, focusing whatever thing that has brought them to the Western world. If it's to study, if it's to do their research, if it's to make money, they are focused on that. It is the priority, not looking for a woman. If a relationship comes along the way, they will flow with it. Now, the next relationship status are these guys who are single, but they are in a relationship. So these guys are single. When they meet you, when they hang out with you, they introduce themselves as single. Even when you go to their profile, in case you guys met online, Facebook, whatever, they still put that they are single. Now, everything around them is single. And truly, these guys are single. But here is the thing, these guys are only single in your country. The truth is that in Nigeria, they are not single. Yes, they most likely have a Nigerian girlfriend. Some are even engaged. Some have engaged a lady, and some have they've gone as far as having this introduction. Introducing themselves to the family of the lady as the suitor who would come and marry them. Now, a lot of them do these things before they decide to travel for greener pastures. Because when this man makes a decision to travel and this decision is communicated to the lady is worried. Okay, you're traveling, you're leaving me here, so what plans do you have for us? And the man says, okay, you know what, I'm going to engage you so that no man will come to you. At least you know that you're betrothed, you're taken, and he puts the ring on the hand of this lady, and he even goes a step further to make sure he does introduction so that in case any suitor comes to knock, the family would have it on record that okay, someone has actually come to us to introduce himself as someone who wants to marry our daughter. So what happens? This young man takes his bag and he travels overseas with the sole purpose of having a better life, so that someday he makes that money, the Benjamins, and then he comes back home to marry the lady and bring her abroad legally, which is not a bad idea. And to be honest, a lot of Nigerian guys who've gone through these routes, who've followed through these plans, a lot of them, they did it. It took some few years, but a lot of them were able to achieve it. Especially those who came here to work who came to for or with working visa, research, research and study visa. A lot of them were focused. They worked hard. They got their stay, and then they went back to marry. Now, but the problem is, some of them, on the other hand, they get here and they discover that the overseas or the Western world is not how it was portrayed by Hollywood and on TV. So a lot of them, they get stranded and frustrated, and when they discover it is not easy as they thought, the next thing, because their visa is running down, they start looking, okay, what options do I have? Because I don't want to go back to Nigeria. I don't want to go back to Africa. I've lost or actually closed down my life on Africa. I'm actually here for greener pastures. So they prioritize this, and then the next thing, they go online, set up a profile, put their relationship status as single, and then they try to meet Western women and they start communicating. Eventually, they meet one. They start talking to this Western lady. The next thing, they fall in love because of their charismatic way of doing things. And things get heated quickly and serious. And the next thing, you know, they are heading towards the serious direction. On the other hand, the Nigerian lady back home is confused because this guy who was proposed to her, even gone a step further to make introduction, is not acting like he used to while he was in Nigeria and when he came into the country newly. This time around, he doesn't have time to speak with her, to talk to her like before. So this lady is totally confused why this guy is doing everything possible to, secure his Western woman so that his status quo would change. The next thing, he marries the lady in the Western world, and the lady in the Western world gives him the opportunity to remain in the country and also have a better life. On the other hand, that lady back home who he proposed to and even went a step further to make introduction is left heartbroken and sad. She starts crying because her time has been wasted by a guy who she would not have the opportunity to spend the rest of her life with. Now, here's the funny part though. Most Western women get married to these guys, they met them single without actually understanding what was going on behind the scene. Because you just think this dude you saw just fell from the sky, came into your country. No, a lot of you don't even understand that a lot of them you are with actually were they got some ladies engaged, they proposed to, and but at the end of the day they couldn't marry this lady. You don't know this, and this lady is, devastated. Now, why am I telling you this? It is very, very important when you meet a Nigerian man in your country who says is single, apart from like, oh, you don't have wife and kids back home, and he says yes, which is true, he hasn't got wife and kids back home. You need to go a step further to ask, have you promised any girl marriage back home? Did you do something like introduction back home? I just need to know, because I know that some Nigerian men, they do this. And why do you have to know this? Because sometimes, if you look at Nigerian men who've left their Western wives along the line in the future to go make babies with Nigerian women, you discover that a lot of them go back to their ex lovers, the lady they were with before they met you. So it is very important to know who this person was before you met me. It will save you a great deal. Now, the next on relationship status is the single and married. So these guys are single in your country, but in Nigeria they are married, and in fact they are recognized as family man with kids in Nigeria. As always, he gets to the point where things get too hard and rough for him, and he decides to, travel and see what is out there for him so that he can better the life of his family, because he's a family man. So, what happens? He decides to travel for greener pastures. Now, before that, this conversation with his wife takes place. Now, there are two things. One, he could brief the wife about his plans, say, look, babe, when I get there, I cannot just get my stay if I don't marry somebody there. So I will need to marry somebody. After I marry somebody in that country, then when things are set, I will divorce her and then come and take you and the kids. So the lady would play by the script. Now you got some ladies who will not tolerate that. Some Nigerian ladies are like, no, I don't want that. That's not proper. That's not nice. We stay here, we suffer together, and we be together. Nonetheless, you've got some Nigerian lady who don't even understand this process. They don't understand that for you to remain in a country, especially when you come with a visiting visa, sometimes you need to do illegal stuff. So for them, they don't know this. They just know that their husband has traveled to make a living, and then later they will come to join them. So what happens is that this guy comes into your country, and then when he comes into the country, he starts undergoing training from some Nigerian or African men who are there on how to get his papers. So they say, look, you have to look for a lady who is a citizen from this country. You have to look for the mature ones. Yes, you have to look for these mature ones. A lot of them are either divorced, they have grown kids, or in university. Look for these women who are in their 50s upwards. So let's start looking for these ladies, one, they look for these ladies who are of this age, because they believe these ladies who are in their 50s are not well informed of this plan. They believe these ladies are isolated, kids are in school, they are divorced. The older you grow, the less friends you have. They know these ladies, some of them are desperate, especially at this age. They need a man. They don't want to go back to God lonely. They know these women, they don't have pressure on having kids, and they come with this also, like, oh, I don't want to have kids anymore. So they gradually build something, and then marriage is initiated, and they start making plan for it until they settle, and then eventually they divorce this lady, and then they bring their family back home, back to the country they are, because they are now citizen. So this is why you need to investigate very well. You see, if you are dating a Nigerian man who is from his late 30s upwards and is single, it is possible, right? Sorry, things could happen, but nonetheless, Do your due diligence. Make sure you investigate to know what's up with his past. Has he ever been married? Does he have kids? It's very important. In some cases, you get nothing, but sometimes you may discover what you find. So it's very important you do so. The next is the single guys with kids. You have these ones who are single and they have a child or they've got kids, and they make you know from the start that, look, I'm single but I've got kids or I have a child. And they even go a step further to tell you that they are not with the mother of the child, which you're fine with, because this would give you the clarity to at least go into the relationship. Now, here is where the Western women make mistakes, because a lot of Western women don't ask important questions. Questions like, where's the mother of the child? You want to know if she's alive or she's no longer with us. You have to know where and what she's up to. You have to ask if if they're both co-parenting, like co-parenting to raise the kids. If he says no, you want to ask why are they not co-parenting? Because you have these men who take the child and then they give their mother the child to raise. You have to ask what caused the separation. Try to verify what had actually caused the separation. And before you do so, make the guy understand that, hey, look, you can ask me the same question. I don't have a problem telling you what had caused my separation in the past. And then lastly, you ask, why are you in custody of the children? Because by law in Nigeria, except the mother is rendered unfit mentally and all otherwise, the mother is not allowed to, be in custody of the child. But if that is not the case and the man is in custody of the child, you want to know why. Because you understand that there's a certain age where the woman, the mother, has to be in custody of the child until the child gets to a certain age by law. Asking these questions allow you to know who you are dealing with and how to follow up. Because, there's a lady out there who might be in constant communication with the man, and while you guys are together, you're like, yeah, she's just the mother of the kids, but you don't even know that they're actually married. But they all go with this format. At the end of the day, you run into problem. And also understand there are a lot of ladies who, don't want to ask questions because they don't want to offend this sweet guy they've met. I don't want to ask him too much questions so I don't scare him off. No, you're not trying to scare him off. You're doing the right thing. Asking these questions is the smart thing to do. The other guys you will meet are the single guys who are divorced. So these guys are single because they've been divorced. They've been married before, and they communicated to you that, look, I got married and yeah, I didn't work out well. So we divorced. Now, a lot of them are honest about this. When they tell you, some of them go as far as telling you why they ended up not staying together. And a lot of them, before you even make more comments, they throw proof to you. They just send you proof like the divorce papers to show that, look, it's official. We are officially divorced. Document signed. Look at my signature. Look at our signature. It's totally, we're totally done. And there are a lot of ladies who just buy this hook, line, and sinker and say, yeah, it's free. But the truth is, that is not enough to verify that this dude is divorced. Getting the document is not enough. I always advise you, go to Google, search for a good law firm in Nigeria, contact them, send them an email, call them, whatever, explain your situation to them, ask them to help you verify the divorce document you have. You know, ask them. They will take this document after you send it to them. They will go to the Ministry of Interior, the Federal Ministry of Marriage Registry, and then they would verify the authenticity of these divorce documents. Now, it may cost you some money, especially if you're trying to run away from price. But you see, the truth is, the money it will cost you would be nothing compared to the money you will spend in your wedding, and then you discover that you actually with somebody's husband, or the money you will spend in handling divorce case. So it is better for you to make this confirmation before you actually jump into marriage. Now, guys, the truth is, you have a lot of Nigerian men who are single in your country and have no affiliation or romantic involvement with any Nigerian lady back home. A lot of them, uh, you've met and dated a lot of them. These guys are single. However, it's important to always verify someone. It doesn't matter if he's Nigerian, African, Asian, European. In fact, even we Nigerians, before we get married, we look into ourselves to make sure there is nothing, sinister going on in the background that we are not aware of. So my advice to you ladies, or rather, should I say some tip, is this: verify his relationship status back home. Verify the status back home, before you press or march forward. Secondly, take it slowly. Do not be in a hurry to get married. A lady wrote me a few days back that, while she was preparing to get married to a Nigerian man, she discovered uh, a paper. This man wrote prayer requests for God to help his wife and and children back home in Nigeria to make it to the US. And she was like, wait a minute, you said you're divorced and you pray for God to help your wife, so she decided to put a pause on that to actually verify who this guy is. And this is why I say to a lot of you, don't be in a hurry. Take your time, verify this person. It is the smart move to do. The person you're verifying could be harmless, nothing. It is very important. We as Nigerians, we also do our investigation before we marry Nigerians. If you look at a Nigerian man who is single and doing very well for himself, you will notice they don't settle for less. I'm talking of Nigerian men who are doing very well for themselves. You know, they don't settle for less. They take their time to select a partner because they are not in a hurry. They're not in a hurry. They don't need your visa. They're not in a hurry because they're not chasing for money from you or anything. So they take their time to, make sure they get it right. And I also advise you ladies to employ the same tactics. Now, my final tip is this: go to Nigeria and see the family this guy is coming from. Last week, two ladies wrote me on WhatsApp to tell me, one of them wrote me and say, I'm in Nigeria and in Lagos. And the other one wrote and said, I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Owerri. And they both said something, I love it here. I was like, yeah, me too. I love it there and stuff. Go to Nigeria. If he doesn't have papers, you have papers. Go to Nigeria. If you know that, okay, he's not traveling with me, how do I do it? He's got family. Let him make arrangement with his family to come pick you at the airport. Go introduce yourself to the family and people around so they know that there is somebody in this man's life, and maybe you don't know what you get to find. So, the truth for me to you is this, guys: do not be afraid to date Nigerian men. Do not let the stereotype that all of this media and some women with bad experience put you that, oh, they all have wife and kids back home. This is not true. This is not true. All you need to do is just make sure while you're dating, you try to know who this guy was before he came to your country. It is normal. Everybody would want to do that. And if along the line you discover nothing, it's not an effort wasted. If you discover something, you saved yourself a great deal. So, guys, again, it's a long video. I'm sorry about this. Please, if you've got questions, you can write me on hometruth86@gmail.com. If you want to ask or talk on WhatsApp, you can write me on the number on your screen. Like, share, subscribe. 100 Niger. Peace out.